Hey guys, just sneaking in an intro here before the intro for the video. I just want to say I'm sorry. I've been having technical trouble for years figuring out what the best settings are to record with, and obviously I didn't choose the best settings. Video coming up is a little bit low resolution, kind of feels like it's from 5 years ago, but at the same time sound is good and it's about the content. I didn't want to re-record it because I felt when I first did it that it was what I was feeling at the time, and I didn't want to have to then, go through the motions of what did I say and how am I supposed to say it. I just thought I'd leave it as is. Sorry for the low quality, but I am getting the pipeline going and they will be better. So I hope you enjoy this. Hey everybody, this is Volen, in Pursuit of Art. I realize I've been doing a pretty horrible job at showing you guys anything of what I've been up to over the last couple years. It's not that it's important that I show you what I've been doing. That's really no big deal. What was important to me when I first started the blog, the channel, and everything else that I wanted to do was that I get to leave a trail for people that are just starting out. When I first started out, I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I had no idea that there were even words for the things I had to learn. And now, when I'm a little bit further ahead, I know so much more about how I could have possibly sped things up for myself. It's because I was just rediscovering everything that was already there. But there was no one to ask, right? There was no quicker way to do it apart from just going through every book I could find and every tutorial I could possibly get my hands on and just kind of piecing together what's important, what's not important. A lot of times, I spent way too much time on what's not important, and later on discovered, hey, I could have just done 20%, which that's the rule, right? 80-20. I could have only done 20%, it would have given me an 80% return. I didn't do that. I didn't know how to. So the intent of these was always to just leave a trail. Not because I'm necessarily doing the right things only, but because if you start year one, and if you can see me year 3 or 4, and if you say, hey, I'd like to end up where this guy is, then you can follow along. Hey, this is what he did year 1, year 2, or if you want nothing to do with where I've ended up, then do the complete opposite. Or if it doesn't work out, just know, hey, here's how I thought about what I did, here's what I ended up doing, don't do that. So there's value in either way that you look at those things. So yeah, I've been doing a pretty horrible job. I've not been showing you guys anything, and the reason for that is that the more that I learn, the more that I realize that I know next to nothing. Like, I'm almost 4 years in now. When I started, I thought surely by year 2, like definitely by year 3, I will be like an amazing pro. Like, just how much more could there be to learn? So this is before I've even started, right? So I thought surely by year 2, surely by year 3. I'm just finishing year 4. So I'm just going into year 5. If you had told me it would take 5 years to even get to like a place where I don't feel like a complete beginner, I don't think, one, that I would have listened to you because I'm just hard-headed and there would be no other way for me to do the amount of work that has to be done just to get to a place where I don't feel like a complete beginner after 5 years. That doesn't sound like a very good deal. I'd rather do something that in 2 to 3 months I could feel like, yeah, I pretty much got this thing. But anything that's worth doing kind of really doesn't work that way. Everything takes a long time. Not just because art is that complex necessarily, but there's so many other things that go hand in hand with getting to be a better artist. If you think about the term martial arts, for instance, there's so many different applications to the word art. There's so many different contexts that you could put it in. So a martial artist, you can picture that, which is a completely, or you can say it's a completely physical pursuit. It takes years, decades to master, right? So that person is also an artist, a different type of artist. Then you have a concept artist, which, if you just draw an analogy between those two, you need to practice the same way that an athlete would practice. A martial artist doesn't just practice their art, their martial art, they also have to exercise their body. They have to do conditioning work. They have to do if they want to be at a high level, they have to do 3, 4, 5 things. They don't just do one thing anymore. They have to do 3, 4, 5 things. If you want to be a concept artist, an illustrator, really any of those disciplines, they're never just one thing anymore. When you get to a high level, concept art is illustration. Illustration contains design. All of those things go hand in hand. You can do it 2D, you can do it 3D, you can sculpt it, you can model it. So many different ways, so many different approaches, so many different packages. A martial artist again versus, let's say, you picking out your techniques. A mixed martial artist, they'll do boxing, they'll do jiu-jitsu, they'll do wrestling. A concept artist or concept designer, they'll do, let's say, 3D in terms of, let's say, a Modo package or 3ds Max. They'll also probably have to pick up a sculpting package like ZBrush, 3D Code, something like that. Then there's also just painting. Those are different disciplines, right? There's also a different degree of training that each one of those requires. Like the martial arts, if you just want to be a boxer, that's just one discipline. That's one technique. You can really focus on one thing. You could probably see a return in less years, and you could also be, most likely, you'll be more skilled in that, but you'll be completely unprepared for any other problem than the one you're prepared for. Same if you're an illustrator, if you're an artist, again, if you focus on just being very good at one thing, you will progress quicker, you will get there faster, but at the same time, if you get thrown a problem from a direction that you're not expecting it from, you are not a mixed martial artist, you are a boxer type artist. So what I want to say with all this stuff is that as I've been getting better, I've been discovering just how much work is involved with all this stuff. And as I've been discovering more and more about how complex it is and how much more there's left for me to learn, I've been pretty much discovering how little I know. When I was year 1, year 2, I may have thought like, hey, I'm getting close, I'm improving so much. Year 3, year 4, I've actually felt like obviously I've been getting better, but I felt like, hey, I just realized how much bigger the big picture is. So I went from like, hey, I need to get good in this small town to like, okay, it's now the entire, let's say, USA, or it's now the entire whatever huge vista that you could possibly picture. Hey, it's now a large metropolis versus, hey, I need to be better than 7 people that are closest around that don't even do art. I just need to be the boxer that can beat up grandma and the lady at the counter over there. She can't really see too well. I need to beat those people up and I'm great, yay. And then year 5 is like, dude, those people don't even train and I've been fighting grandmas and grandpas. It's really much bigger than I thought. So when I normally make the videos, you guys, if you've ever watched a full one, because they do tend to run long, you may have noticed that I sometimes say that I've had to record this thing 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. There's a lot of pressure that I sometimes try to put on just so I can spend enough time to do a good job. But at the same time, I do realize that that really limits the amount of videos that I'm able to do, because the more that I realize how much work I have to do, the more work I actually have to do. So that means that instead of spending an hour with you guys, I now have some practice that I have to go do, or I have some job that I have to go and finish. So by making this video and really saying to you guys, hey, like, I'm just here to give experience. I'm not here to give advice. Don't look to me for like, hey, whatever this guy says is probably correct. I don't plan on trying to present myself like that. I'm just trying to show you guys the experience of what I've had to do. That means that instead of trying to pull out pieces of advice, just like lessons, I don't try to put myself in that role. But when you're recording videos, there's really the expectation that, hey, I'm presenting, I should know what I'm talking about, which then, I don't mean that I'm just gonna jump on here and talk to you about stuff that I don't know, but what I mean is that there's really, when you put a lot of expectation on it, it just becomes more complex. It means you can produce less. So what I want to actually do with this video is kind of absolve myself of the perfectionism of I have to get everything right, I have to edit the video in a certain way, I have to do research, I have to go and really analyze days in advance what I'm going to talk about, prepare like an outline type thing. I'm going to absolve myself of having to do all that stuff and just be a little bit more closer and just show you what it is that I've been doing instead, rather than just trying to present it in such a way as, hey, this is exactly the variable that affects this thing. Let me present to you how these two are correlated and present my findings to you. Instead of doing that, I realize it's actually more valuable if I show you, hey, I'm really not sure what I'm doing right now. These are the things that I think might work. I'm gonna give them a try. Here's my results in another video later on. This is how it worked out. This is what I learned from it. Just show you the experimentation. Just instead of waiting to be a master so that everything that I say is verified and true, which may take longer than I might live for. So instead of having to do that, maybe I'll just show you guys a little bit more of a closer view of this is the day-to-day. These are the things that I've been doing over the last couple of years. I've made a video before about my first year. I think they were way too long, that series that I ended up doing. I think I'll probably try and condense this for you guys and just give you now, when I can see from further ahead, hey, these are the things that I was thinking at the time. This is what I would have done differently. I also want to do the same for years 2, 3, and 4. Just show you the different things that I've been doing, what I've been working at, and what I found that I suck at after so much time that I've put in already. Here's the surprising things that I thought I was better at. That turns out that, hey, I really didn't train those effectively. So, without further rambling, what I'm trying to say here is I'm here to help with whatever it is that I can. That's what I've always wanted to do. I'm here to help, but not in the way that, like, hey, I'm in this position where whatever it is that you ask me is no problem for me, and I can definitely just look at my notebook here and I'll tell you exactly the correct answer you're looking for. That's not the type of presentation I'm looking to do, and I'm trying to basically give myself permission to not have to have gone through another 5 years of training before I can answer a basic question. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to help. I'm here to answer questions. So please, whatever you struggle with, leave me a comment for it. It makes me have a better idea of what I should talk about and what's really helpful. And I'm going to show you more of the behind the scenes stuff. I'm going to be showing you more of what I do, keeping it a bit more casual, and hopefully produce more videos for you guys. And I say hopefully because I've made that claim before and then things have just come up, and I'll try my best because I've been doing my worst so far. Thank you guys for sticking around. I will see you soon.